There's an interesting statistic that 42% of people that write down their goals actually achieve them. But what actually is achieving your goals? How do we achieve our goals? And so I wasn't really sure. I'd always learned how to set SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, and time-bound. But none of these goal-setting activities actually tell you how to achieve your goals. And that was until I read this financial book, and it said, in business, the most important skill you can have is execution. And so that word execution kind of stuck into my mind, and so I eventually bought a few books on how to execute, because I knew that goal setting really wasn't that effective. What's the most important thing is executing and completing the goal, and that's the hardest part to do. And so I went down this rabbit hole of different books on executing goals, and there was one book that really stood out, and it was called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. And now the reason this stood out is because it was super simple. There's 4 clear steps that anyone can do, and you can implement this to every area of your life, not just business. And so in today's video, I'm going to go over the 4 disciplines of execution, what I learned, how I applied it to help my mum lose 9 kilos, and how you can apply it to any area of your life. And so I think this is definitely the most effective way to execute on your goals. It's helped me, it's helped my mum, and I hope it'll help you. So how to execute your goal? You've got a vision, but how do you turn that into reality? The first step is just pick one simple goal. And so for my mum, it was to lose 10 kilos, and we gave a deadline, 100 days. Deadline is super important because it puts in that urgency, and that fuels your human behavior, makes you want to strive and achieve it. So you got to add a bit of urgency, add a deadline, but just pick one goal. The second thing is to pick 1 to 2 activities that will cause the goal. So for my mum, she wanted to lose 10 kilos in 100 days, and we figured the most 2 important activities you could do were exercising and dieting. So we stuck to those 2 activities. So if you don't know which activities you should be doing to achieve your goal, I found this sentence in the 4-hour work week, which helps clearly identify which tasks you should be doing. And that's by asking yourself, if you could only do this work 2 hours a week, what would you do? So if you wanted to lose 10 kilos and you could only do it for 2 hours a week, you would want to do some exercise and you would want to be eating less food. And so they were the 2 most important activities, and we selected those. And you can quantify how much you want to do. So for my mum, she did 1 hour of exercise every day, going for a walk, and she ate calorie deficit of 700 calories a day. And so we created a meal plan around that. The third step to executing on your goal is to track the activities. So the 1 to 2 activities you chose, tracking them. And so we used a habit tracker where each day my mum would tick off or cross off when she did her exercise, and she would then cross off at the end of the day if she had stuck to a diet. So this is super motivating. You see the progress because you're doing the activities each day, and it's super motivating, and also help you stay on track because you know what you've got to do, and the only thing stopping you is you. And so you just go out and you do those activities. Now the 4th thing is having a cadence of accountability. So that's cadence is like a weekly or a regular time interval where you check up on yourself to make sure you're doing the activities. So weekly checkups is probably the best. And a simple way to hold yourself accountable is by asking yourself, did you do the activities this week? If yes, how can you improve next week? Can you try a different sort of exercise? Did you prefer one meal over another, and you can make that meal again this week? If you didn't do the activities, what was stopping you? Get to the root cause of the problem. I didn't do the activities because I felt tired in the afternoon, so I didn't want to exercise. Well, can you try and do exercise first thing in the morning? And let's try that. So try and diagnose what the problem is that stopped you, and try and find a simple solution that allow you to actually do the activities. And so it's uncomfortable, facing these challenges that stopped you from doing them, but it will lead to great progress along the way. My mum managed to lose 9 kilos. Even though we didn't hit the 10 kilo mark, 9 kilos is still a lot. And because she kept doing these 4 things, she picked a goal, she stuck to the 2 activities that we chose, she tracked them every day by using a habit tracker. And if she didn't do the activity, we had a simple way to actually make sure she stayed accountable. So if she had a problem, we diagnosed it, and then we came up with a simple solution to get around it. Now, if you found this valuable, I created a one-page cheat sheet which goes through each 4 steps. You can write down your goal, you can pick the 2 activities. It's got habit tracker on the cheat sheet, and then it's got a formula, this framework to keep yourself accountable. So if you want to get that cheat sheet, click the first link in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.